All right. I have one last clip, Lana. It's very sad news.
Okay.
Very, very sad. And I'm sure you've seen it. But the Democrats, the liberals, the leftists, whatever you want to call them, we lost The Rock.
Oh my God, I saw that. Goddamn Rock.
Lost The Rock, which, you know,
The hell up.
first of all, as a University of Miami Hurricane, diehard University of Miami Hurricane football fan, I was a fan of The Rock because maybe you do or maybe you don't know. He was a defensive lineman for the University of Miami. He blew out his knee and was replaced by one of the greatest defensive tackles of all time in college and in the pros, Warren Sapp. So he basically lost his job. And when he lost his job, he went into professional wrestling, where his father and his grandfather had huge careers in the WWE. And not only did he have a huge career, probably considered one of the biggest careers in the history of professional wrestling, he made people that were not watching professional wrestling watch, and I was one of them, and he was the best when he was on the mic, and by far the best, wasn't even close. Then, against all odds, goes and becomes one of the biggest movie stars in the world. And in 2020, he went on and endorsed Joe Biden and Kamala Harris for the 2020 election. And look, I'll admit, as a fan of The Rock, I was happy to hear him say that. So, and, now we'll hear people go, well, who gives a shit what The Rock thinks? We cared about what he thought a little bit in 2020. I think anybody, no matter who you are, if you have some sort of influence, you're happy to hear that they are endorsing the candidate that you like. And then when you hear that they're not endorsing that candidate, it doesn't feel as good. But is it the end of the world? I don't think so. I don't know if The Rock changed the 2020 election, and I don't think he's going to change the 2024 election. But let's listen. For some reason, Dwayne The Rock Johnson felt it necessary the day before the big WrestleMania event that he was in to sit down with Fox News and give his opinion on the upcoming election.
Happy with the state of America right now? Well, that answer is no. Do I believe we're going to get better? I believe in that. I'm an optimistic guy, and I believe we can get better. The endorsement that I made years ago with Biden was one I thought was the best decision for me at that time. And I thought back then, when we talk about, hey, I'm in this position where I have some influence, and it's my job then. I felt like that then. It's my job now to exercise my influence and share with this is who I'm going to endorse. Am I going to do that again this year? That answer is no.
He went on to say, too, it's not part of the clip, but one of the reasons why he's not voting for Joe Biden is because of the divisiveness of Joe Biden, and he is not happy about the so-called woke agenda, or whatever it is they call it, that's going on in America. It sounded pretty calculated. Dwayne Johnson seems like an intelligent guy to me, but there's also, again, this is just my opinion, this is not fact, but there are also a lot of people that have intelligence, but maybe not are as intelligent about politics, and their views can be easily influenced. And this sounds to me like it was influenced sort of from a, we have all different kinds of factions now in this country on where people are getting their feels in politics. We have the MSNBCs and the CNNs. We have the Fox News and the OANs and the Newsmax. We have just the New York Times and Washington Post people. You have the Alex Jones type people. Then you have the Joe Rogan, Patrick Bet David sort of faction. I think that's where Rock is now. He didn't endorse necessarily Donald Trump, but he has felt like it was necessary for him to go on Fox News and say that he is not endorsing Joe Biden, which could lead a lot of people to think that he's endorsing Donald Trump. My feeling is he could be one of those stupid Bobby Kennedy Jr. nuts, but I don't know. Lana, what do you think?
That he's doing it because he's on WrestleMania or whatever the fuck that is, because that's those are Trump's people. Like that's the MAGA kids.
You know what, though? I'll tell you something, Lana. And this may be a little bit of a surprise to you, and I might be wrong. Believe it or not, the WrestleMania crowd, and the reason why I know this, because I used to watch it a long time ago. I used to watch because it was just entertaining. It was very entertaining. And so there are some things I keep up with it here and there, as opposed to the UFC crowd. Now, the UFC crowd is full MAGA, but the WrestleMania crowd, these wrestling, you'd be surprised how very liberal a lot of them are, because they were the ones. You could go back and there's literally a story about it. The wrestling fans that go to these things, they basically dictate on how the whole wrestling world is going. And they were the ones who were very instrumental on getting women's wrestling way higher up there. There's also a lot of these podcasters, because I don't
like tits. That's why.
Well, no, I mean, but when I'm saying, when they're talking about women's wrestling, they're not talking about it in that respect. They're talking about it from the legitimate technical standpoint of wrestling.
Okay.
And a lot of these podcasters that I don't listen to wrestling podcast. I've never listened to one except for when the Vince McMahon news broke out. And almost every one of them were appalled. They were sickened. They were, they almost felt like they didn't even want to watch wrestling anymore because they were so disgusted by it. So that's just an observation that I've seen from, at least to me, they're different than the UFC kind of crowd.
Yeah, it just struck me. It's just the timing. Like, timing is everything for me. And it always seems like there's always another motive, because why now? Like, why right before your match? Is Vince McMahon still running these things or
no? No.
Yeah,
he's out, and it's
just a weird thing. Like, it's just the timing is weird that he had to do it now. Like, I don't know. It's something odd about that.
I think a lot of people are, some are surmising because of the amount of money Rock makes. Because you got to remember, he was in wrestling in 2020. So, if he thought that him saying that we're going to alienate fans, I think that more of his fans, like, I might say more, I'd say a small scale, would be more apt to vote for Joe Biden, believe it or not, than because The Rock he's always been a outside of wrestling. When you see him on interviews, when you see him, he's very giving, very kind, very nice, very
Which is crazy. It's like you have to be an idiot to call the man with the Black Asian vice president who put Ketanji on the Supreme Court divisive.
It makes no sense.
Blind? Like, where have you're just talking to talk. That's why it seems like, what the fuck else is going on? Did your agent tell you need to be on that? See, that's why what's his face? What's the comedian's name? God, why can't I think? I just lost him. In the stupid movie with The Rock.
Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart don't say shit. We know, Kevin Hart is not a Republican, but he doesn't say anything about any of it.
Yeah.
He's staying out of the fray, and he does what he does, and he's not going to talk about it because he wants that money. He ain't trying to lose none of the fans. He just not saying nothing about no one. He's smart. Shut up.
My personal opinion, and I could be wrong. I just think there's been, since the 2020 election, there's been sort of this, like I said, this Joe Rogan sort of influence on especially dudes, and just, I don't know. I think I'm getting that vibe a little bit. That's why Bill Maher is I feel like he's gone that way a little bit too. And it's just like this, the woke thing. That just
have
drives
a
me
daughter.
insane.
Like, you
right.
have a kid.
Well, a lot of people on social media pointed that out to him for sure.
Like, are you right? Like, are you that stupid? Do you know what the fuck is going on? Like, I'm pretty sure your daughter's woke. Like, you're fucking woke. You're in the fucking industry. Like,
Right.
what are you talking about?
But to call his, and by the way, let's all make it clear, nobody's trying to cancel The Rock. So, I mean, The Rock's not getting canceled, so don't worry about that.
I never cared for him anyway to cancel him, so I don't.
Yeah, I mean, again, it just it made a lot of news. Again, at the end of the day, does it really matter? No, it makes no bit of sense. It doesn't matter because, like I said, I think it was cool when I heard him endorse Biden in 2020.
We got Mark Cuban. We don't need you, Rock.
That is true. That is absolutely true. Mark Cuban to the rescue.
And Mark Hamill, apparently.
Oh, Mark Hamill is a big time. And the Fonz. Are you kidding me? Come on. We got Luke Skywalker and the Fonz. They have Scott Baio and
we got
yeah, Scott Baio, Kevin Sorbo. Who else do they have? James Woods, who I actually really liked as an actor. Huh?
We got Barbara Streisand and whoever else, Mia Farrow, and
they have Ricky Schroeder from Silver Spoons.
They have all like the B list.
B?
F? I don't know. G?
Yeah, they're not even B anymore. They're like not even C. They're like more like C. C. Yeah, they haven't been in a fucking role in 20 years. And James Woods actually was a pretty good Kid Rock, Baby Juggernaut. Yep. So they have Kid Rock and The Rock. I hope we don't lose Chris Rock. And I don't even. Chris Rock seems a little on the fence too, by the way. Every time I hear he's kind of in that sort of whole Dave Chappelle, Joe Rogan, sort of Bill Maher camp of these, I love the climate, but I hate everything else kind of,
Stick with LeBron.
Right.
he's gonna be through and through. He's gonna do what he's supposed to do.
100%. Well, like I said, I feel good about the election every day. I feel, just based on history, just based on logic, just based on, it doesn't mean I'm not nervous about it, but I feel good about everything. But